Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina. If you are new here on my channel, I do bookish related things and I also do beauty. So if that sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, I say you please subscribe here to my YouTube channel. And if you do like this video by the end of it, I say please give this video a thumbs up. So today I'm going to be doing my first ever book chat beauty, and that is what I'm calling these videos. This is an idea that my daughter gave me a couple weeks ago, and that is to pick a favorite book that I read for whatever month and create a look. So I thought that was a really neat idea because, as you know, I am a hybrid channel and I do both beauty and books here on my channel. So what better way to combine the two than talk about my favorite book for the month and then also do my makeup at the same time. So thank you so much, Avery, for giving me this idea because it was a really awesome idea. So a little explanation for what I'm going to be doing. It's pretty much self-explanatory. I'm going to be talking about my favorite book for the month while I'm doing my makeup. The inspiration for the makeup will either be the cover of the book or a character inside the book, but for this particular look, as you probably already know by the thumbnail, I'm going to be creating this look specifically based on my cover. And that's going to be none other than Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I got this makeup inspiration for the cover because the cover is absolutely gorgeous. I love the crimson red with the golds and this very creamy white color. It's just, the cover in general is just really gorgeous. Although there are some very beautiful people here in the story, the cover is what really sold me on trying to create a look for this first time book chat beauty video. So yeah, that's the whole concept of this video, is to talk about my favorite book for said month and creating a look. So for the month of February, you're actually going to be getting two videos for January and February, since I didn't do one in January. January was a very slow month for me, and yeah, I decided to move my January book chat beauty for February, so you will be getting two. Typically I will be doing these videos close towards the end of the month, so that way if I finished all my books for the month, I will have an idea of what book I will be picking for that month, what book was my favorite for the month, so that way I can chat with you guys and do my makeup. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to this video idea. So I want to throw out a little disclaimer. I know Mel over on Mel Reads is doing something very similar to this. I want to say I did not copy her idea. I actually had this idea planned a couple weeks before she actually did her first video. She's also doing like Makeup Monday, where she talks about a book that she's recently read and really enjoyed while she's doing her makeup. So me and her are pretty much doing the same thing, except for mine's gonna be my favorite book for the month. So yeah, if you do like this video and you find it really interesting and like this kind of idea, definitely go check her out. I will leave her channel down below so you guys can go check her out, and definitely check her out because she does amazing makeup and she talks about books so well, definitely better than me, and you definitely will get the best idea of whatever book she's talking about because she is so good at book talk. I am not just saying that just to say it, like legit, she always convinces me to pick up whatever book she just finished. So yeah, that is enough for this intro. We're gonna go ahead and jump into today's video, and I really hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know down below if you did. So without any further longer intro, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into today's book chat beauty video. So like always, you guys know I always do my brows off camera, and I laid down some concealer. So we're gonna be talking about obviously Crescent City because this was actually my favorite read for January 2021. This was actually supposed to be my December read, but I never got a chance to fully finish it in December, although I reached about like 130 pages in December, but I decided to count it for January because this book is 800 pages long and I read almost the entire book in January, so I decided to count it as my January monthly favorite because it was my favorite of the entire month. After I finished this book, I could not pick up any other book so quickly because it literally like left an imprint and I just needed some time to process my thoughts about like what happened and what went on in the story. So that's why I'm here to talk to you guys about a little bit about the book. I'm not going to do any spoilers, or I'm going to try not to, but I'm not all that great with discussing certain books or books in general. You guys already know this from my wrap-ups, but nonetheless I'm going to try because this is something new that I want to try here on my channel. So yeah, the idea that I'm going to be going for today is the cover. I kind of want to create a very crimson red with gold eye look. So yeah, while I'm doing that, I'm going to be discussing about what went on in the story. So in Crescent City, we follow a couple of characters. There are quite a bit of characters in this story, and I want to say that's kind of like what took me a while to really get into the story. I felt like my head was going in different directions when reading this book. That was just me personally. It's really hard for me to focus on a book or the story when there's so many characters being thrown in there, but there's a reason for those characters being thrown in there. They all have a purpose, they all have a part in the story. But today I'm gonna definitely be talking mostly about like the main characters, which one of them is Bryce. Bryce is a half human woman, and she lives in Crescent City with her best friend Danica. I'm not too sure how to say her name, but anyways, we follow Bryce, who lives with her best friend Danica. They've been friends since college. They met in college and they were pretty much inseparable since then. They moved together outside of college, until one day, you know, Bryce is pretty much the type of girl who kind of has gone through it her entire life because of who she is, because of the part that she's half fae, half human. She feels very like unwanted from her, you know, human side, and then also unwanted from her fae side. So she hasn't really like fully connected with others in her world except for like Danica. Danica is like the only person that has accepted her for who she is and like loves her for it. So Bryce goes out one day and she's, you know, partying it up. Danica can't go out with her because Danica is actually like a wolf. So when she's in her human form, she still very much has like wolfish features. Danica, from what I gathered, is like a shapeshifter, so she is full-on wolf. Like when she is in her human form, you definitely can still see the feline or the wolfish features on her, but she can shapeshift to look like an entire like wolf. Like she turns into a complete wolf. And she's actually like the leader of a pack. So the night that Bryce goes out, Danica cannot go out with her because she has to be the leader and stay in with her wolf pack and kind of just like, you know, chill this time around and be on her guard because she's on call. So if anything happens, she has to be ready to kind of take action as far as like any kind of crimes that goes on, because she's like some form of like police, something like that. She's a security, so she kind of keeps things in line in Crescent City. So then when Bryce is done with her partying, she makes it home and discovers some very unsettling things. She discovers that her home has been broken into, and not only that, she shares her home with Danica, and that was where she last seen her alive. When she gets home, she discovers that Danica has been murdered, and there are no traces of who could have done it. All she sees in her whole apartment is that Danica is dead, and also the pack of wolves. And this kind of confuses Bryce because Danica is a very powerful person, and so are the pack of wolves. So she's kind of like dumbfounded, I guess you can say, if that's even a word, that something like this could even happen. Like she thinks that whoever did this is obviously not someone of their world. So once all this happens, the government or like the other, like I guess FBI type of people in their world get involved, and they start questioning Bryce, like where was she, does she have any idea who could have done this. They actually have Bryce as a suspect because she was the last one to see Danica alive and was also the one to find her there in their home dead along with the pack. They do have their suspicions about who else could have done it, because of Danica's like history with putting certain people away. They do feel like somebody might have done this out of vengeance. I'm not going to tell you guys who. I will leave that to the naked eye in case you want to read this story, but I will say their accusations turned out to be completely false. And that's something that they end up learning in the story, that who they thought might have killed Danica might not actually be the person that killed her and her pack of wolves. So after this night has happened, Bryce is kind of left with the outcome of maybe her best friend and her crew was killed by somebody that just had like a vendetta against her, and that's all she had and that's all she could do. That's all she had to go on. So a couple years pass and murders are starting to pop up again, and it's a big coincidence because they are the same type of murders that actually killed Danica and her pack of wolves. So this kind of gets like the government / FBI back involved and wants to put Bryce involved because they feel like she could be of use to helping crack the case, since her best friend was actually murdered in the same way. But they also kind of still have her as a suspect because they kind of feel like Bryce still had some form of part in it. But yeah, they end up getting Bryce involved, and this brings her in partnership with Hunt, who is a fallen angel, but he's also like a slave to the FBI government. He's like an assassin, I guess. He's like, the way I can describe Hunt is he's like a John Wick. If you've never seen that movie, I guess another reference I can say is like the Black Mamba off of Kill Bill. Like, he's that type of person that once you see him, you're automatically afraid. Once you see him, you've heard of his stories. And he goes by the Umba Mortis. I think that's I can't even remember what they call him. They call him that, and Athalar. So yeah, he's definitely like someone you don't want to mess with because he can kill you in an instant. She ends up kind of getting forced into partnering up with him to kind of solve these cases, to try and figure out, because maybe they feel like the person that they thought might have done it maybe didn't do it at all. And Bryce is totally against this because, one, she's already, you know, had to warn her friend on her own and doesn't want to be put back in this whole situation with having to relive the night that her friend was murdered, and she just doesn't want to do it. Like, she's already adjusting to life without Danica and just kind of just wants to live the way she's been living and not be bothered with. She just feels like that justice has already been made. They already caught who they thought it was. Like, there's no need for them to get her involved, that it has to be somebody else doing all the killings. But they, either way, like, they still force her into doing it, and so she has no choice but to do it because it's the government, and yeah, what they say goes. So if they say you're gonna do something, you're gonna do something. But she does it her way anyways. She makes it very clear that, you know, she's not gonna be a pushover, which I really love about Bryce. I love Bryce so much because of how she's written in the story. She's the type of person that is very like, if you think I'm this way, that's just how you're gonna think of me. She doesn't try to correct anybody. They see her as the party girl and she doesn't try to correct them, but she's so much more than that. She just doesn't care to explain who she truly is. If that's just how people are gonna see her, then that's just how they're gonna see her, instead of really getting to know the true her. And that's what I really love about Bryce so much. So when her and Hunt partner up together, they discover a lot of things. They find out that some things just don't add up, some things just don't make sense, and then they also discover that her best friend might not have been who she thought she was, as far as like Danica keeping secrets. She knew Danica was a really, you know, by the law type of person, and she always saw the good in somebody. She always gave people chances, especially when they were breaking the rules. She tried to steer them in the right direction, and that's all Bryce knew Danica as. But there are secrets that they uncover that does not sit well with her, that she couldn't believe that her friend was actually doing this, or you know, but in the end everything always had a purpose when it came to Danica. And that's what I loved so much about hers and Bryce's friendship. I wish that Sarah J Maas would have kept Danica in a little bit longer in the story. I was so sad when she killed her off, because I felt like we could have gotten a little bit more from her. But I really loved Bryce and Danica's friendship. I thought it was so loyal, so sweet, so truth, that a lot of us, you know, crave when it comes to friendship. It's the kind of friendship that you would do anything for them just to make sure that they're okay, that they're being safe, that you're protecting them in any kind of way, shape, or form, not from themselves but from others, and just truly seeing who they are as a person. I guess you can obviously guess that because Bryce and Hunt are working together and trying to solve the cases of these recent murders that are pretty much the same way her best friend died, they get so close to each other that obviously there's going to be a love interest. And honestly, I was so here for the love interest, although there are some things that kind of frustrated me when it came to Bryce, because she's so closed off with the world because how she's been treated throughout her entire life. It's hard for her to open up and trust somebody. The same goes for Hunt, because so him and Bryce, since they were forced to team up, it also pushes them to see one another for who they truly are. And Bryce also discovers a lot about Hunt, that he's really not who people think he is as well, just like her. He has to hold up this image to be feared other than fear others, I guess, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense. So like I said, there's so much going into this story, but pretty much the story is pretty about Bryce getting reeled back into figuring out who actually really killed her friend, because who they thought killed her might have not actually been that person that killed her, because there have been other deaths just like her best friend that are popping up 2 years later, which they don't quite understand, because the person that they assumed killed Danica, he's already in jail, and there is so much confusion as to how, or maybe he has other people on the outside that are doing it for him. So yeah, this is just pretty much Bryce and Hunt and the story, and Bryce's brother trying to figure out who's doing these killings and for what. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I had to really focus on this cut crease. So yeah, just cut my crease, and then I put some gold liner on the crease. It's still not perfect, but whatever. We're gonna keep going on. We're gonna move on. So overall, I really loved this story. I really wish I could talk so much about it, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody that wants to read this book. I will say, like, if you want to read it, read it. Don't worry about how big it is. Like, although it seems a bit slow at the beginning, as soon as you pass like at least the first 150 pages, I want to say, like almost to 200 pages after, like, it gets really good. I mean, it's good from the beginning, but like the pace starts picking up a lot more faster, and it's so hard to put down because so many things start actually really happening when it comes to like the investigation, and then all the things that they're starting to learn about Danica and other parties that pop up in the story. Like, it's just, it starts becoming really mind-blowing. It starts becoming mind-blowing to where you don't want to put the book down, because one chapter leaves off on a cliffhanger, the next chapter leaves off on a cliffhanger, like it continues all the way into the very end. So yeah, I will say I was gonna rate this book a 4 out of 5 star, but as I got closer to the end, I did tear up. I'm not even gonna lie, like I cried at least twice. And yeah, I'm a big baby, but it is what it is. I didn't expect to cry like the way I did reading this story. I heard a lot of people did, like, you know, it was not hard hitting, but you know, did hit them all in the feels, and I was expecting that, but I wasn't expecting it to hit me so hard in the feels. So yeah, and that bumped it up to a 5 star because it made me cry. So I will say, not everybody's gonna cry obviously in the story, but it made me cry. And I know I'm not the only one out there that cried over this story, but yeah, it was. I will say, going into this book, we do learn about grief, we learn about depression, a little bit of depression, I will say, because Bryce is depressed, and she's grieving majority of the book, because even though it's been 2 years since her friend has passed, like, she still is grieving over it, because that was her best friend in the entire world. That was the one person that actually fully understood her and knew her secrets and just like didn't care about it and just, you know, loved her for who she was. So it was just really hard for Bryce to move on in general when it came to Danica's death, even though like she put on a brave face and just made everybody believe that she was over it. In reality, she was not over it. Like, I did love the story building. I loved, even though like I said, it was really slow in the beginning, and I think that's why it took me so long to read it and I couldn't like quite like get into it in December. It's not like it was, like I said, it wasn't a bad book at all. I gave it a 5-star. It's a really good read. It's just it took forever for it to pick up for my attention span personally. That doesn't mean like everybody's gonna think that same way. Just for me personally, it was very slow in the beginning, and once it picked up though, like I could not put it down. But that's just me personally, because I'm the type of person, when it comes to my reading, I have to, like, I like story building but not a lot, because my attention span is very short. I'm like a toddler when it comes to my attention span in reading. If it takes too long, like, I don't want to read the book anymore. But I'm glad I did not put this one down because of it, because I really enjoyed it so freaking much. I actually want to reread the story again, but I want to read it in audio form the next time I do plan on reading it. Not anytime soon, but definitely something I would definitely pick up in the future to reread, because the story was amazing. And you never know, like, if a reread, you could pick up something that you missed the first time, you know? So I did say it does discuss a lot about grieving. It does have some depression. It also has talk of suicide, very briefly, but it's there. So we do talk about loss a lot in the story, from both Bryce's side and Hunt's, his side as well. I want to say maybe some form of abuse when it comes to both Bryce and Hunt. They did suffer verbal and mental and emotional and physical abuse, especially Hunt. So I think that's pretty much all when it comes to like triggers, as far as like I can remember. And if you are thinking about reading it, read it, because it's really good. I'm not even saying that just say it. I'm saying it because I really mean it, and it's beautiful. And I wish I can go so in depth with it, but there's so much to talk about when it comes to this story, when it comes to characters, when it comes to just secrets and the magic. Oh my gosh, there's just so much to talk about, and I would rather talk about it with someone that's already read it instead of like spoiling it for those who want to read it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off right now. I'm gonna finish the rest of my face, and then I'll be back to close out the video. Alright, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys found this video interesting and you enjoyed watching it. This is my first ever book chat beauty video that I want to continue to do each month. But for February, you'll be getting January and February's. Typically, I'm going to try and do these towards the end of the month, so that way by time the end of the month gets here, I'll already have finished all the books for the month, and also will be able to determine what was my favorite book for that month. So yeah, I hope you guys again like this video. If you do like videos like this, I know Mel has started doing something similar, very similar to this over on her channel, and I will leave that down below so you guys can go check her out, because she does amazing makeup and she talks about books so well. I freaking love going over to her channel and listening to her book wrap-ups, and then also just like in general her book reviews, because she is so informative when it comes to books that she's read, and she does the perfect amount of explaining without giving full-on details like myself. So yeah, I do definitely need to like rip out a page from her notebook on how to talk about books without spoiling it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.